pa pam 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 pam. Pa 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 pam 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 pam. Pom 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 porom. Pom 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 porom porom pom porom. Working on MMO 2 hours a day is not really the best, but we are trying, boys. We're trying. We're trying. We're trying. Trying. Bam 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 ba bam 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 ba bam 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 ba bam ba bam bam. Yes, exactly like that. Exactly like that. Ba-ra-ra-ra-ram. Bum 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 bum. Wait, I'm posting the news here and there on X, Facebook, Discord, whatever. I mean, yeah, just to say that we are alive. Yeah, we are alive and kicking. Oh yeah. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Hello? Anyone there? Hello? Okay, what are we doing here? Are we ready or not? I think we are. I think we are. Hello everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another stream of Plane Shift. A game that maybe you never heard, but it exists. Yes. It exists despite everything. It exists. And not only it exists, it is released. Yes. Yes. Okay, so what are we doing? Some more spoilers here, eh? What is this? Oh, a bracket. Oh, a bracket. Yeah, that's another game. A bracket. Some spoilers of the card game. Easy. Bum 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 bum. I received. So we should do. So I was thinking, Can we remember, you know, because we do so many things that sometimes we forget, but did I document somewhere? Hello Ned. Oh, thank you for the subscription. Hey, thank you. So I can switch to the next scene, and now it's saying sub 8 out of 20. Very nice, thank you very much. Thank you. Compendium, right? I don't know if I documented this, but basically the idea was I think I never documented this. I didn't, huh? I didn't. Proximity, random generated, anti-events, lever, traps, instances, loot, guild houses, setting item, new NPC, mini games, procedural. Nah, you should be here. By the way, with this wiki, right, is available to everyone, and it is where we post our stuff. I mean, there are some development tips and development ideas, and how our database is constructed. So if you want to learn, I mean, if you are a developer and you want just to see how we do stuff, right? It's all on this wiki. Yeah, I think we should create a new entry here and call it Compendium entries. Compendium entries, and we should link it to a page that at the moment does not exist, but we will call it Compendium entries. Exactly. Because I'm trying to document as much as I can, because one day I will die. You may say, what the fuck? Yeah, I mean, obviously, like everyone else. I mean, unless they invent immortality before, and someone else should take over this fucking project, right? Someone should take over one day, and if you don't, you will go to hell. Okay, sorry. No, it's all good. Hello Marcellum, hello Hulla. I joined transition between Crystal and Real, and I've created a new character to see if the intro quest can better guide me into the game. It is getting a lot better. Oh, finally you are playing the game, Marcellum. Finally. There is people that is really hating that piece, but I don't, because you know, we are a role-playing game, so we are explaining how you're moving between your home planet and our world. I mean, it will get better over time. I would like to add animations, better voiceover, better movements, better whatever, but you know, 2 hands, 1 life. That's my story. So, okay, compendium entries. We should somehow remember how. We should somehow remember how we do these freaking compendium entries, right? I think it's not complex. And I definitely have a place where we can get information about it, because the compendium entry was a big mission that we did a few years back now. If I search compendium, okay. Compendium activation, I think is exactly this one. I don't want to look at the date, but compendium activation, and this thing is already working, eh? It's just never been used. But anyway, so creatures, plants, and minerals are actually different, right? And creatures have the orange symbol. Okay, so creatures have description plus a picture, habitat, ecology, combat, and spoils, right? Spoils of war. meaning loot. I didn't want to call it loot because it was too, but right. Yes, and this line, these yellow lines, is how you obtain those entries, right? Let me just change the music. How you obtain those entries. Now, is this used in the game? I think only for very few sentient creatures, and probably no one even knows about it, but maybe. So the point is, right, for our mercenary that we changed no, for our initiate gladiator, right? How can we? Yes, the first problem is that the initiate gladiator is not a creature. The initiate gladiator is not a creature, eh? I see. Well, but in theory it should work anyway. So what I would like to document here is how to add, right, a new entry into the database to have that thing actually work, right? So codex story, definitely not. I think it's codex nature. Yes. There it is, codex nature. Actually, there is quite a bit already, right? Like all the sentient races, I think are already there, at least some of them. Not sure there are all of them, but and yes, you see that some you unlock with books, and some you unlock with SA, I don't remember. Yes, vuol dire, it means skills ability. Skill ability is examine creatures, right? Yes. For example, a study of the habitat of the ecology of the aliens is unlocking a piece of the compendium, right? Now, monsters, I don't think that we have. So, and this is the race ID. Ah, very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so everything starts. So to add a new creature or creature, plant or mineral compendium entry, look at codex nature, right? At codex nature dot codex nature ref ID. Well, item type is codex nature item type, and the codex nature, come on, and codex nature ref ID, right? Ref ID. Now, if we want, in theory, we can link this to the actual table, because we actually have all the plane shift tables in the wiki, so we could jump there, right? So the item type, let me just save it a second and see. Yes, you see that race item type is basic creatures, sentient creatures, plants and minerals, right? So basic creatures, yes. So to add creature to other creature, we can do a nice insert into this. The ID is not important, we just do plus. In which database are we here? We're in production, eh? Okay, so we just add a new line and we say item type 1 basic creatures, Ref ID is the race, so we take the race of the mercenary. Because let's do the gladiator first. Let's do the gladiator. Race info. Fuck. Yes, exactly. They have no race. I mean, they have the race. They have the race that they have. This breaks everything. This breaks every freaking thing. No, we cannot do it with the... Hello, Sulfrots. I had a character without the intro skills, and one I got them from the crystal. Nice. Fuck, I cannot believe it. So the problem that we have is that our compendium at the moment is working on the race ID. And the race ID is the creature type. But our initiate gladiators are Enkidukai male. Nah, I cannot believe it. Are Enkidukai male. So in theory, when you analyze them, there is a real problem. When you analyze them as Enkis and not as initiate gladiator. Crap. No, my plan is completely diverted. My plan is completely hijacked. No, my plan is so completely hijacked. What do we do now? I mean, for sure we can find a solution. The problem is how complex, because so basically what we are saying is that we need an archetype. And I cannot even use, right? I cannot even use the behavior, right? Because I cannot even use the behavior. Because the initiate gladiator, right, is, the initiate gladiator is, what? Adult Gorwell. What the fuck? Because in my database it's still 90-90-99. I think, right? Then we changed in production, hopefully. Hopefully we change it there. Wait up. Our gladiators, initiate gladiator. Initiate gladiator. Race gender ID is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is race 1. Right? It's race 1 because they were male Enki. And in our database, I think there's a leftover, right? I just left them in my database wrong, but yeah, exactly. They are -1 for whatever reason. So because we were testing, you know, the randomization, which by the way is another problem, right? Because if in the future we will add randomization of the race, then it's not even the thing, right? So okay, so I have an idea, but I don't know if it's gonna work. So basically the idea, wow, Paint crashed, really? Never seen Microsoft Paint crash, but it crashed because there were 6 open and now there are 0. So I have an idea which maybe can solve our problem. The idea is the following. Can I have a black screen? So at the moment we are dividing these things. We show you, huh? Yes, exactly. So we are dividing things this way, right? We are saying, oh, we have basic creatures, we have sentient creatures, we have plants, and we have minerals. There is the separation in the compendium, right? And based on this, we decided to do this split, right? This split. And this split is saying that creatures have the orange one, player races and some sentient creatures have this one, and plants have only description, habitat, and properties. Actually, this is renamed. And minerals have description, using value, and location, right? So in theory, you should know from the compendium the location of the mines when you find them, right? But anyway, that's another problem. Now, I don't know why he's saying some sentient creatures. So I don't know if I already had the idea. Freak, I have the other solution open. I don't know if I already had the idea to associate, because there is an easy way to check the loot table, to say if this creature has a different loot table, then consider it a creature, and so our initiate whatever will actually work. And that is where I don't know. Add codex creature activation by book. So what it's doing is just searching that item in all the tables, and if he finds it, is then saving the compendium entries, right? So the problem is, how does it do the detection? How does it do? Yeah, no, but this is easy because this is by book. So this is not our problem. Our problem is... Our problem is the creature, right? So I need to know when we kill. And compendium entry by race. Why is only here? Ah, because this one is the one that you get in the character creation. Okay, okay, I understand. But why we don't have the one... Check monster kill. I think this one is the one that we want to trigger. Because combat and spoils are determined by kills. But gets got a creature killed by race. Yeah, that is the problem, right? This line is our problem. So this line, basically, whenever you kill a creature, right? So what it's doing is checking the race and only the race, right? And also when we load this this thing, right? Maybe let me put a bookmark because so I will be able to come back here later. Preload creatures, right? The key is Codex Nexure ID. Yeah, everything is determined by race. But race is not good enough. I mean, race is good for the monsters, right? Because every monster is a different race, so that's easy. That's easy. But every monster is a different race. But if we have if we have a group of rogues, right? So exactly, so that's exactly the problem, right? So the ones that can be reused, right? So if you have a group of rogues, right, that is maybe sitting very far from the main cities in a very, you know, end game kind of area, and they are dropping super good loot, this will not work with our current system in the compendium, right? Because the compendium will treat all the rogues the same. All the rogues the same. Now, what I could do, right, is to split it by loot rule, because every one of these things, every one of every character has a loot rule associated, and I could have an entry that is based on the loot. The problem of that, which is not an easy problem to solve, is that, like, the loot rule is called initiate gladiator, right? And it's loot rule 32, for example, right? So the question is, when do I want the race and when do I want the loot? And also, if I change the loot on one of them, then what will happen, right? So let's say that you have your compendium entries for the rogues. So let's do a, you know, a reasoning, right? The reasoning is we are in the arena, right? We are in the arena, and we have the initiate gladiator, right? Which is an Enki, by the way, right? So his race ID is actually 1, right? But his loot ID is actually 32, right? Right? Then, so let's say that we have the same gladiator, yeah, it will not be called initiate, I guess, right? So that's the whole point. So I have the let's say that I have the Ojaveda bandit, right? Let's call it like this. Doesn't exist today, right? But the Ojaveda bandit is race ID 1, so he's still an Enki, right? But he has, I don't know, loot ID, let's say 33, right? Another loot ID. So the problem of the current system is that these two creatures, right, share the race, but they may have completely different characteristics. This one can be super easy to kill, and this one can be super hard to kill. This one may have a loot that is very, very simple, and this one may have a loot that is super good, right? So in the compendium, despite the fact that they have the same race, they cannot show up in the same compendium entry, right? They cannot, but today they do, and that is my problem. There is my problem that the gladiators have surfaced, right? So now we see the problem. Now we see the problem. So should I drop completely the race ID? Because, I mean, this guy is also an Enki, right? They are also Enki. So when you are looking at them, when you are scanning, right? Should you scan for both then? So you scan for the race and you scan for the loot. So you examine creature. You use examine creature, right? And are you scanning both race and loot? So that you populate like 2 entries? Because the description as the picture is actually coming from examine creature. Just by looking at it. While the habitat and the ecology, you need to have a book, right, to learn about it. And this stuff, you need to actually kill it, right? You need to actually kill it to understand how it fights and what are the spoils of war, which makes a lot of sense, right? All of this makes a lot of sense. So it's fantastic. I love it. I don't want to change it. My problem is that all of this is based on the race and is not based on the loot. So if I switch, so let's think to a second, right? Did I completely switch from race to loot ID? Completely switch. So in my codex nature, the ref ID will be because the ref ID in case of minerals or plants is pointing to the stat ID, and that's perfect. I have no problem with that. Because you cannot have two plants with different characteristics having the same name, right? But on the basic creature and the sentient creature, we have this problem. So, or I get rid completely of the... But it will be weird, right? It will be weird because you see an Enki, you see an Enki. There is a logical problem to solve here. You see the initiate gladiator, right? And he's an Enki. And so when you study him and you look at him, you can learn about how Enki are, right? How they look and how they behave and, you know, whatever. But at the same time, he's an initiate gladiator, so he has a special loot. He has special loot. So in this case, I think that the same creature will give you 2 entries, right? The only problem is, how do I... So this guy, right? So if I examine this guy, my empathy is too low. If I examine this guy, I don't know. I don't know if you know that you can do this, by the way. So drag and dropping from the skills window. I hope you know you can do it. But anyway, why do you have so many characters? For testing. Because whenever, like when we created this robe, right? I had to test it, and so I had to create a character. When we will so for example, I changed the eyes. I don't know if you noticed, but now this guy has eyes that are separate from the body, while before it was a single mesh. But anyway, so whenever I do changes to the thingies, I need to test them. So I have 1 character per race per gender. So there is another problem there. So if I examine this guy, Research partially completed. You need 4 more, right? Now, here we can cheat a bit because they are all the same. So if I go to this guy and I will examine it, I don't know if you ever tried this, but I don't know if we ever tried this. Right, so now we need 3 and so on, right? They have to be different ones, so if they are not different one, it will not work. When you reach 4, when you reach the number, I think it's 5, whatever. I stop inspecting because I clicked somewhere else. You will get a compendium entry, right? Under creatures. Now this guy is 0, right? So we will need to find 2 more Ankies, like Jefekra, I don't know. Oops. Arabartus. It doesn't make a difference if he's male or female, right? It's the same. Okay, you need 1 more. Rabartus is here. So after you have examined 5 of them in their natural habitat, let's say, you get a new compendium entry, right? And you get a picture, but now with the fact that we just scanned them like this, you get a picture and you get a description and you get the ecology. Okay, you also get you get a description and the ecology. Maybe I changed it then. Strange. In theory the ecology should have come through a book, but fine, maybe I changed it at a certain point in time, right? So you can read about them now, right? So you can have, I mean, if you want to read, but anyway. So in the same way, if it's a creature, right, it will have the spoils of war, meaning the loot. And for normal creature it works, but now the problem here is that while this guy, because this guy doesn't even have loot, which is another problem. This guy does not have loot. So I cannot even check the loot tables for this guy. So I have to say that everyone that is without loot Oh, by the way, someone is boosting the city, huh? Oh, I decided to go away. Yeah, the same works for, and yeah, we actually have 3 cases. We have 3 cases, right? We have Jefekra, right? Jefekra is race ID 1, but has no loot, right? Loot ID is, I don't even know if it's 0, -1 or null, but anyway, is not valid, right? If I search Jefekra and I search his loot, should be, yeah, is 0, right? Is 0, but basically it's invalid, right? So this guy, even if you kill him, you cannot kill him, but even if you would kill him somehow, right, he has no loot, so it doesn't give you anything, right? Which is a bit weird because anyway he's a guard, so I should give you something. But no one can kill him. He's an unkillable NPC, right? So the problem I have at the moment is that everyone with the same race ID, right? Everyone with the same race ID. So these three guys have the same compendium entry, which on one side makes sense because he's still an Enki, right? But on the other side, in the case of the Initiate Gladiator or of the Ojaveda Bandit, maybe in the description, I don't want to say, you know, there is a failing race, right? Or a short hair rather than fur, whatever, right? So I don't want to say this. I want to say, like, the Initiate Gladiators are usually, you know, roaming around the arena area, and they are, you know, not particularly hard to fight or something like that, right? They tend to use, yeah, in reality, that would be under combat though, because we have a combat section. So I think the description for them would be very simple, right? So like they are Enkidokais, right? They are Enkidokais hired by the government or hired by the arena, training people in the arena, something like that, right? Even if that is habitat, right? Habitat is basically where they live, and yeah, I think with these gladiators we broke the pattern. We broke the pattern of creature equal compendium entry. But still, I think I can come up with a description. My problem is that if you are analyzing an Initiate Gladiator which is an Enki, do I want the compendium to give you two things? Probably the answer is yes. So we'll have to analyze the race and see if there is any information for the race in the compendium to unlock, and that will go under sentient creatures, and then he will have to check the loot, and yeah, and he will find it by loot. The problem is that I think I need to change the data model, because our current data model is based on, everything is based on race ID. So ideally, I would create another T map like this, which is actually called by loot ID, right? By loot ID. The only problem is that in this table I cannot really differentiate unless I'm adding maybe a new column. How do we do it? How do we do it in the database, right? How do we do it in the database? That's a big question. At the moment, we have this basic creatures, sentient creatures, plants and minerals. And again, plants and minerals are working perfectly. There is no problem. The problem is basic creature and sentient creature, which was already a bit weird, right? Because I decided to split it. I think the split is still valid. The split is still valid. But I think the split should be... I think the split should be no loot creatures. Yeah, I think that's what it should be. I think it should be 1 is loot ID 0 and 2 is loot ID greater than 0, and 3 can stay as plants, and 4 can stay as minerals, right? But if I do it this way, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because in the table then I will have a bunch of 0, 0, 0 that I cannot separate, right? No, it does, because it's another table. Is the this thing is a is the item type. Yeah, we are speaking item type, right? So I can say item type is when loot ID is equal to 0, and reference ID is the race ID, and item type is 2, and when item type is 2, the reference ID is the loot ID. I think this may work, huh? So we don't really have to change the structure. Well, the problem is that when I kill a monster, or when I kill something, I will have to change all of this, right? So this will be so it will depend, right? It will depend if here we are extracting type 1 or type 2 together. And so basically we will have to fork, right? We will have to fork here, because at the moment the code here is not doing that, right? So if so is relying on the activation, So if the activation says kills, then he assumes there is a so is there really a split, right? Because actually under creatures there is no split, right? So the creatures are all listed here. So if I had a monster here, it will just be listed together with the sentient races, right? There is no split at the moment. There is no split. So in reality the split is just internal, right? It's not visible to the player really. So what I will have to do, so here I will have to fork, right? I will have to fork. And I will have to say, this is the preload, right? Yeah, this is the preloading. And I will have to say, if item type is equal to 1, then my reference ID is the race ID. And so I get race info by ID, because we are setting the race info as an information here. If I mean, this is all server side anyway, so I can do it without having to release a new client, right? Without breaking the compatibility. Do I have this also in the dummy database? Because maybe in the dummy database I even have more, because I was testing everything. Yes, in fact, in the dummy database I also have a creature, right? I also have a creature that is unlocked by kills. And the reason that the ecology triggered is just because we decided. What did we do? We did the Enki. So it's number 1. This one, right? Habitat so this is the Enki. These 4 lines. It's really weird. In theory, the ecology should not have triggered, unless I triggered it already, because maybe I read that book. Yeah, that's possible. That's possible. So I didn't unlock the basic, and so he unlocked this one. Yeah, that's possible. I mean, we can try to do it. I'm just thinking if the logic makes sense. And also what I will have to store, right? Because I think I will have to change. I have to basically change this, and I need a pointer to the race info, but I need a pointer to the loot table, right? So I think there is a PS loot entry or something. No. There should be a loot rule, loot entry set. Okay, it's just not called PS, but for whatever reason, maybe we can call. Maybe we can call it loot entry, right? I think I need to explain it, because then I will forget it, but basically is but the problem is, well, no, because we will check both entries. Yes, exactly. There is to differentiate an initiate gladiator from I think there is a chance here. I think we have a chance. Now, let me just check the loot entry set is the proper... Yeah, is the proper, yes. I think it's this one. I think it's this. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I would say yes. Yes, it's this one. It's this one. So, okay, so what this means? This means that now we have this differentiation. And so when we are loading the compendium entries, yeah, this error is no more relevant, right? Because I think it's better if you do it like this. Now, I'm not completely sure yet, but I think that the logic may work, yes. I will take Jafakar as an example. So, what do we start with? We start with a -1. Yeah, I think we have to start with a -1 because race info 0 is actually a valid race, right? Which is the Stone Hammer. So, Stone Hammer Mail. So, we start with -1. We check this. We go to race info. Oh, no. I said something stupid. Wait. I still have it, right? Yes, I still have it. Wait. Should be like this. No. Should be like this. No. It should be like this. And this should be inside this. Because we know, right? So if the item is set as item type 1, we know that is a sentient creature with no loot. So basically we are evaluating the race. We are evaluating the race. So and we set the race info, right? Else, if type is equal to 2, by the way, it would be nice to have an enumeration maybe, but anyway. This will become our loot entry ID. Right? I mean, it's the same field that we are reusing, but this will become a loot entry ID. And here we will have to check if that loot entry ID is actually existing, right? And I don't know exactly how to get a loot entry. It's probably in Spawn Manager. Yeah, get loot entry set by ID. Yeah, exactly. So we get the right, and this will be loot entry, right? And if loot entry is not valid, we can say codec creature failed to load loot info ID, loot entry ID, right? So this basically based on the type, right? I wouldn't even say sentient, I would just say creature with no loot and creature with loot. Right? And so this way we are splitting the ref ID based on the item type, right? And yeah, sorry Fruits, I didn't have the time. I didn't have the time to look at those yet. I mean the text. So creature with loot, yeah. So okay, so we do this split, right? And now everything else is loaded the same. The only problem is the activation. Yeah, exactly, the activation, right? Because the activation will be, well, it's the same though, it's the same. It's exactly the same. The activation doesn't change. Unfortunately, it's called by race, right, here in the code, because it was just the way it was working. But like here there is activation by book ID. Yes, an activation by kill, right? And there is the problem, and it is the problem. Activation is number of kills. Extract the number of kills needed, num kills. Cache manager, add codex creature activation by kill. And here we have a bit of a problem, right? Because here we have a bit of a problem because there is like a T map, right? There is a T map that is done by just for performance reason, right? So to ensure that we are accessing this very, very quickly and is ordered by race ID. And unfortunately now we have to split it, right? Because we need two. We need one, I mean, depending on the type, right? Depending on the type. Because I'm thinking if we can put it in the same table, but we cannot because the, you know, race 13 and loot 13 are two completely different things, right? And they will go in the same ID, so it will never work, right? It will never work. It will never work. Because I still need the, so let's make an example, right? Let's make an example. The Jefekra and the other guy and the gladiators, right? So Jefekra has these entries because the race is 1, and the gladiator has these entries as well because he is anyway an Enki. Yeah, I guess the only question I have is if he has a loot ID, you don't allow scanning of the gladiator as an Enki. But that's a problem that we can solve later, I would say. Because we could say that you don't scan both, right? You scan only or one or the other. Yeah, but okay. Okay, so going back here, do I need two T maps now? One for race ID and one for loot ID. I mean, I can create them easy, and I can pass to this function the type, say if it's one or the other, right? And it's going to fill one array or the other. But then when we do a kill, what do? We kill and we check, right? Because at the moment, the check by, yeah, the check monster kill, right, is checking the race. Yeah, but we have anyway the full victim, right? So we have the full character. So we could check the loot. So what would we do? We would check the loot. We would say if the loot is 0, right, then check the race. Yeah, I think it works, guys. I'm just trying to reason if there is any problem, but I don't think there is a problem. I think we can do it. But means that I need to keep I think I need to keep 2 T maps, one by race ID and the other by loot ID. Where in the race ID, obviously that's the, yeah, and here is the loot entry ID, right? And now basically everywhere I'm using this array, which I hope is in very few places, I have to use also the other one, right? Why this one is not used? It's just initialized here? Yeah, I think it's just initialized. And then and then the activation, yeah, this is then filling in the array, right? So I think we just say the same. We just initialize it empty. Yes, then here we are in that method, right? But here I really need to know if he's loot or if he's race, right? So I need to have loot ID and race ID, or even better, you know. Or even better, we just have a boolean, right? That is his loot or his race. I don't know which one we want to, right? And so based if it's one or the other, right? I do and now this should be is this exactly the same? No, because here the variable will change. I mean, we could get the address of this, but I don't know, getting an address of a tmap, it's kind of scary. I mean, in theory it should work, but I can just duplicate this and GG. So yeah, it's a bit annoying because I have to duplicate this word block, because I will have to say something like if, you know, if is race, then if is race, then we do this. And if is right, and if it's not race, unfortunately we basically do the same, but we have to change wait, that is ID, right? And we basically have to do the same, but now our this will be our other, right, by loot ID, right? This will be by loot ID, by loot ID, by loot ID. So we add it to one or to the other quick tmap access, right? And yeah, obviously now this is complaining. I think it's only the activation by kill. No, in theory, I think I'm doing a partial reasoning here. I think I'm doing a partial reasoning because I mean, it's true that this is fine when you are killing the monster, right? But we have exactly the same problem here when we use the ability, right? is exactly the same. Is exactly the same. So I will have to duplicate this as well. Oh my god. But it's fine, we can do it. We can do it. What is this music? It's very nice. Might and Magic 6. The Mandate of Heaven. Jeez, I think I remember that game. I was a kid. Did you ever play the Might and Magic series? I think when I will be retired, you know, I mean, I will obviously still do plane shift somehow, I guess, but I think I will replay all those games. I will replay all those games if they are still running somehow, but I think they will. Okay, so what we are saying now is that whenever this variable is used, whenever this variable is used in the same way, we have to do it by loot. Creating a supporting array by entries to be selected by character creation and ability search. Yeah, but this thing is completely different. Array creatures. So what this is doing is scanning all the races, and for all the races is getting all the entries that have race info equal to race ID, and okay, so in theory we will have to do exactly the same for our loot ID, but instead of scanning the races we will have to scan the loot table. Right, so I think we have to do exactly the same. So create a supporting array of entries by loot ID to be used on, not character creation, to be used on ability search, right? And this one we'll have to scan. I mean, it would be similar to this, but not really identical. So it will have to select from loot rules, loot. Now do we need the root details? No, we just need the loot rules, right? So we will have to scan from loot rules. Now this is the dummy database, huh? So it's not like that. So we'll have to scan from loot rules, and for every loot entry found, you will have to iterate on all the codex creatures, yes. and then check if the ID what? Bro, we just huh? How do we called it? Loot entry. Okay, it was not, no, for whatever reason it was not understanding the thing. Right? So our loot entry is equal to my loot ID, and so basically we are creating a supporting array where all the compendium entries by the loot ID are registered, right? Now the only problem is there a 0 in here? Hopefully not, please. Please, never start, when you create a database table, the ID never start from 0, start from 1. Because so you can use 0, you know, for a special invalid entry. Okay, we started from 1, thank God. We started from 1, so 0 is actually an invalid entry, and so we are fine with that, right? Fine with that. Hello, Fanner. How are you, Fanner? Hi, good looking tiger. Do you groom yourself before the stream? Always. I'm licking my fur all the time. I want to say, refresh you to come to you, video playing shift out together for the news and what's going on around the world. What do you mean, what is going on around the world? I'm not speaking of what is going on around the world, fun. But anyway. Speaking of our world. You mean the plane shift world? Yes. 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 Thank you, Fana. So yeah, whenever we have that, yes. So we create a supporting array of entry by race, and here we create a supporting array of entry by loot ID, right? And so we do, yes. And so here we add to this new array our loot ID and then array creature. Fantastic. So we also have this fast access array, and that is all created. This part of the code is run when the server starts, right? And so we are basically caching all this information already indexed by race ID and loot ID. So whenever you kill a monster, the server just needs to look into that hash table, which is the access is super fast, right? And it will immediately find it. So we don't have to do any other search, any other scan, right? And so it is very optimized, which is exactly what we need. Well, it's exactly what we want more than need, but yeah. Yeah, so I guess that now we also need a get codex creature by race. Well, maybe what we can do, we can get a codex creature by, yeah, because there are a number of supporting functions, as you can see here, right, that are returning get codex creature entry by name. Who's using this? No one. No one is using this. It's not a blueprint function, right? And in the whole code, there is only the declaration. So this function is not used anywhere. So you know what? I'm gonna kill it right now. Maybe I'm not really deleting it, but I'm gonna comment it out so that Yeah, like unused, right? And why is it not working? I don't know. Get codex creature by race ID. Add compendium entry by race. Yeah, but this one is the okay, this is fine. We don't need that. Check ability to incompatibility. Yes, and here is where we will have to do, right? Here is where we will have to do our thing. Knowledge type. Wait, knowledge. No, what? Ah, because it is before this table. Yes, it is even before this table, because this table is codex nature. But there is another table that is like character discovery or whatever. And I think that is referring to that. Wait a second, I need to understand this. Yeah, because the ability goes by larger groups, which is creatures or plants and minerals. So it's splitting between those two macro categories. Yeah, exactly. So now the problem will be the activation, right? Because now the problem will be the activation, because how do we define, right? How do we define here I think there is another problem that we need to solve, because I don't remember. I think we have a mega table where we mega array where we list well, this would be easy. We do it twice, right? So we do it on, yeah, so here we have to do it on our two thingies, yes, or maybe we return it here, but I think it's a bit risky. I could change this function to be get codex creature by race or loot ID. By race or loot ID, and is anyway returning all the entries, right, of that type. Let me see if no, I need to know. No. Good night, Ned. See you. Thank you for stopping by. Because now we cannot use only this anymore, right? We cannot, because we just split it, right? We just split it. So yes, we just split it. So we have to, right? We have to create another function which is by loot ID, right? There's no way. I mean, we have to do it. 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 There's no way out of this. It's very simple, because actually it's just you know, it's just loot ID, and here is just loot, right? And he's returning the loot ID, so it's very simple. Yes, it's very simple like that. But what we are saying is that is this the same function I was looking at? No, I don't think so. Is it? No, it was this one. One is checking the compatibility and the other is doing the real work. So right? So this will search by race and this will search by race, search by loot. And yeah. Okay. This is just to check the compatibility, so it's not really doing anything more than that. But now this first one, right, which is where it's doing the real job, because here is doing the real work, right? Which is basically comparing, is triggering, yeah, when you finish the examine action, right, is and it's doing a bunch of stuff, but then yeah, here is where we may use, you know, the double check, but can I append to this array and fuck it or no? Check only this entity discovered with disability, the ability to use codex entry ID, add codex entry ID, codex entry creation. Yeah, because here I don't need anything, right? I don't need to know if it's a loot or no loot, right? So basically what I'm saying is that I will have a codex loot entries, right? And here I get my loot thingy, and here I get the creature get loot entry, get loot category. No. Creature is what? Creature is a PS character, yes, exactly. So how do I get my loot? It's called loot category? Nah. It should be loot entry. Loot items? No. Uh-oh. Maybe because it's private. Maybe because it's private. That's annoying. We saw it before, right? Come on, there's no loot entry here. It's called in another stupid way. It's called in another stupid way, and so we cannot find it. It's called or is inside spawn man. Nah, but let me search get loot 1 second. Get the default loot entry for this race. No, not this, no, the one on the, no, not the one on the race, no, not the one on the race, the one on the character. Every character has the NPC loot ID, right? So I need it on the character, not on the race. Is inside spawn rule. Is inside spawn rule. Jesus. So we don't have a get loot entry on PS character. We have to go through the loot through the spawn rule and understand from the spawn rule what is the loot. Nah. I don't believe this. Huh? You're stupid. Get loot category. We have the ID. But is get loot category getting the one of the father of the master or not? Because that is critical, huh? I mean, I understand this function, okay, but it needs to be aware of the master. So I don't really know. Oh wow, set loot category is never used. It's never used, huh? So how do we set it then? We set it like this. GG. We have an accessory, we never use it. It is a bit dirty. It is a bit dirty actually, but anyway, I'm trying to understand if this loot category ID is set properly based on the master, right? On the master ID, because we have the master ID, and here it seems that we are just reading this in loot without thinking too much. So it seems to me that we don't. But anyway, that's the way we use it at the moment. So we basically, the way it is to read the loot category, and then from the loot category you get the spawn entry, right? And from the spawn entry you get the loot entry. I mean, it's a bit stupid, but that's the way it is. I mean, it's kind of weird, but that's the way it is. That's a bit strange. You see? Because here we are in spawn manager, right? But you know what? I think I'm gonna create a function for this because I think it looks very bad. I think I'm just gonna create a function on PS character that is doing it, because I mean it doesn't really make sense, right? That we have to go through multiple objects, and I mean every character should know what loot he provides, right? I mean it's just a basic object-oriented concept, right? So at least being able to be queried for, right? So at the moment you can get the loot category, right, out, but I mean I would really transform this, right? If you ask me, I would really transform this into well, depends if spawn manager is exposing. Wait a second, because this is now doing damages for a second. Wait, let me just comment this out, because otherwise this guy's going crazy, right? He's not really liking that. But the point is, so I hope we have access to spawn manager, right? I hope we do. We don't. We don't because we are in the header, or we don't because we don't. So from PS character we never access spawn manager, is that what you're saying? No, we do multiple times. We do plenty of times. Yeah, I think it's only because we are in the header file then. Okay, let me create a new one maybe, so that returns loot entry set, and this will say get loot entry, right? And right, and then sorry, let me just destroy what I just did. Right, and then here the only thing that this thing was doing, right, was actually I mean, I hope spawn manager as a get, yeah, exactly, get loot entry by ID, yeah, exactly. And this is my loot category ID, right? Yes. Now the only thing that I don't know is if this is actually reading the master, right? Which actually I think it should. So I think if master ID, now the only problem is that if the master is not loaded, yeah, we will have to search. Now it has to be set on loading, not here. Yeah, it has to be done. It has to be done when we load, not here. But anyway, I'm a bit tired. I went to the gym for 1 hour, pushing. Okay, so let's use this one. I think this one will work anyway. Member function can be made const. Okay. So in theory, wherever we have this get loot category, which hopefully is only in one place. Well, it's in more than one place. Fuck it. So basically now we can delete this, right? And we can just say, well, here we are inside spawn manager, but there is a PS character, right? So yeah, so we can say just, instead of all this shit, right? We can just say obj get loot entry, right? And that's it, right? Without all this shit that is going back and forth between different objects, right? It doesn't make any sense to me. So every character knows what is the loot that is providing, right? And I don't understand exactly what he's saying here, right? So he's saying that he would prefer to have something like this. I think it's very unreadable, right? Yes, I think this is what he's suggesting. But to me, it's super unreadable. I don't like it. I think, yeah, I mean, it's 2 lines, I understand, but first you extract the thing and then you check the thing, right? So it's true that you are not using after the if statement, so if it goes in, yeah, I understand the suggestion, but I think it's a bit weird. Okay, anyway, we did just this small change just to have the loot entry, right? So now we have a function that is actually returning the loot entry properly, which is nice. And so now going back to what the hell we were doing here, yes, going back to what we were doing. Creatures knowledge type. Yeah, so we were here, right? That we couldn't get our loot entry, right? But now we can. Yeah, even if in this case I need the ID, so I have to use the other one, not the one that I made. Fuck. Stupid humans. Okay, it's fine. That's ridiculous. Okay, anyway, so I did all of that not to use it at the end, but it's a good thing that we did anyway, right? Because that's more logical. But yes. And by the way, I don't know why it's called loot category. I mean, it's just so weird. Probably because in the database it's called loot. Yeah, okay, I understand why. Yeah, but it should be loot entry ID. But okay, so now can we gently append this array to this other array or not? We can, right? Without going crazy. And is append really appending, or do I have to return it? It doesn't return anything, so perfect. So it does it in place. Okay, it does it in place. So now we have inside codex entries all our loot entries and our race entries, right? And now this code can run the same way. I assume so. Okay. Okay, I think we are good. We are nearly there. We are nearly there. We are nearly there to solve our insolvable problem. So this one I don't care. This one we fixed it already because we split it in two. This one... what is this? Check already discovered. Okay, we can use the same technique of the merge array, whatever, man. We can use the same technique. Hopefully. Hopefully I'm not messing up here. Okay. Ay. Ay. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, so here, unfortunately, we don't have the object. We only have the ID. Check already discovered. Ay, 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 ay. Here we have a bit of a problem. Luckily, it's called only in one place. It's called only in one place. Check if the ability and the target are compatible. No, it's not this. Check if the player already discovered everything about this creature, right? Hey, we have to check it in both because we only have the ID, and the ID the problem. No, that is a big issue because the ID can be the same. Ay, 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 ay. There is a problem. Because yeah, but in theory we had the same problem here, no? Wait. In theory we had the same problem here. Yes, we do. Well, no, I mean here we don't, because here we are saying, are we compatible, right? Are we compatible? No, but it's the same. It's the same issue. It's the same issue because I cannot say that I'm compatible with the other table, right? No. No. Okay, we need to split this somehow. Otherwise we will never know, right? You see this? Use the race ID. I mean, that's wrong. That's the old way. The old way is to check only the race ID, and that's the old way. And it's not good enough for us anymore. It's really not. It's really not. How do we fix it? I mean, here we have the character, right? Here we have the character. Or the item, right? Now we need a subcategory. We need a subcategory. Knowledge type is not enough. Knowledge type is not enough. We need a race or loot. We need race or loot. We need it, otherwise we cannot understand it. And it is valid only for races, obviously not for plants or minerals, right? But here, when we enter here, right, and we say so here we need to do the reasoning that we were saying that we started from, right? We started from this reasoning. If the loot ID of the race, that is exactly now, this line of code is exactly this. So the differentiation, this, right? The differentiation between now, I don't know why I don't have it in this value, but because there is higher level than this split, right? Yeah, we are one level. Sorry, we are one level higher. So here we have, if my character target, right? Get loot entry is valid. You see, now we can use the new function. Get loot entry is valid, right? Then we use the loot ID. And so we would say is race check false, and meaning that is loot, and the check ID, right? The check ID will be character target get loot entry. No. Get loot entry, get ID, which is always the get loot category. Okay, fine. What do you mean get ID? You stupid, it's already an ID. Okay. Yes. else, right? Else, we use the race ID. This, right? This. And in both cases, the knowledge type is 1, right? Sorry, this one should be set to true here. Even if it's already set to true above, so it's a bit useless to set it true here, but it's just for, you know, reinforcement. And then after we do this, then we go here, we check plant and minerals, we do this check, we arrive here. That is actually in common between plants, mineral, creatures, sentient, non-sentient, whatever. And now this check ID, right? I need to pass it in. I need to pass in is race check. Otherwise this will never work. Right? This will never work. Okay, now, because this one is called only from one place, right? We said, yeah, exactly. Thank God. Thank lungs. So now, now inside this check thing, ability, whatever, right? We have to say, oh, if knowledge type is 1, right? We check if is race check, right? If it's race check, then we do it this way. If not, we do it the other way, right? So that's basically. And now they are not overlapping anymore, because the problem that what I did before is that these things were overlapping, right? And we don't want them to overlap. So I think that like this is doing the check only on one of the tables, because unfortunately this table have the same ID. They can have the same ID, right? ID 2 is valid here and is valid here. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I don't know really how I can navigate inside of all this code, but somehow I can. I mean, if you ask me, are you 100% sure of what you're doing? I mean, I'm like 90 something. I'm like 90 something. I mean, I'm not really 100. No. Because there are so many dependencies, you know, and so many different pieces that it's hard for me to keep all this in mind, right? So oh fuck, also this one will have to be changed. Where are we using it? Are we using it? Yeah, obviously we are using it. No. I mean, I don't understand why. No, wait. This is the knowledge ID, right? The knowledge ID. Uh-oh. Knowledge type, child table. Maybe that is okay, but I had a glimpse of a potential issue, right? So that we are checking No, this part should be okay. Because this part is checking by ID, where the ID is not the thing ID, but is the entry ID. So is already the internal unique. I hope is unique, bro, because if it's not unique, I don't know, but right. So this is the unique, hopefully unique. Quest prerequisite OP compendium. There is something completely different. I don't think I want to go there now, but I see a potential issue here. The given compendium entry is required. Compendium entry is stored in discovery manager for each player. Bro, but do they have unique IDs or not? Because that's the issue. What kind of entry ID are we getting here? I sense a problem. I sense a problem in this entry ID, because this entry ID, all our tables are our knowledge is divided in 4 tables, and those 4 tables, factions, locations, nature, and story, right? They have ID. They all start from 1, right? So there is not a, at least if I don't remember right, wrong, but there is not a single unique ID for these things, right? Each one is its own, and they are split by type, right? They're split by type. So in the query, you always have to. Okay, there is type here actually. In the query, you always have to do type and entry continuously, right? Because otherwise you will get the wrong entry. The problem is that now we have split that even one more, right? We have split it one more, and so it's just not anymore we have split it one more. Yeah, that may be a problem. I will have to test it, because I will have to test it. Key is ID of the creature entry. What do you mean by creature entry? ID of the creature entry. There is no creature entry. There is a nature. There is a nature entry. There is not a. Yeah, probably what it means is this ID anyway. Yeah, I think it's this ID anyway, which is unique between all the. Yeah, I think it means this ID actually. So if we go with this ID, I think we are fine. If we go obviously with this ID, we are not fine, right? And so what I'm saying is that here we have 2 check already discovered. One that is going by entry ID, and one that is going by thing ID, right? And that is the one that we have to split, otherwise it will never work, right? So what we have to say that so we need to have our creature entry, right? If our is-race check is true, then our creature entry becomes the get coded creature by ID by thing ID, exactly. Else, right? Else our creature entry becomes our right? Because we said that now we are splitting, huh? So check ID, right? Check ID can be the loot, huh? Yes, can be the loot category. Yeah, exactly. So if we enter here and check ID is the loot category, it is race check, so we can split, right? We can split properly. We can split. And so now we don't need this. And so now this code should be good. Okay, I think we finished all the code. Unfortunately, I'm out of time, but I think that we finished. I think we finished the code for this. Hopefully, I don't know if it will compile. I can try to compile, but I think what we can do tomorrow. No, tomorrow no. Saturday. I think tomorrow I'm busy as usual, but Saturday what we can do, we can test this, and if this works, right, we will have to test it pretty well because we did a lot of changes and some of those changes are a bit scary, right? So I have to check that. But yeah, I have to go. I don't know, we can wait the compilation, or I'm just going, maybe. I'm just going, guys. Okay, so we will finish on Saturday, okay? And if that works, then what we can do, we can apply to our initiate gladiator, mercenary, whatever, and everyone can have the spoil of war properly in the compendium, right? Which then will help us to explain to the people the 1 modifier, 2 modifier, 3 modifier, right? Which is the new thing that we built this week. Okay, guys, so thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Have a good night, everyone. Bye. Are you online tomorrow? No. I think no, because I checked. Because we have a check with my friends if they are available or not available. At the moment, we have 1, 2, 3 players. I think we are missing a 4th one because we have a minimum number of 4. So if the 4th one doesn't show up, then I will be here, but it's unlikely. I think he will be available. Bye. Have a good night, my friends. And if you want to click follow on Twitch, by the way, the build failed. No. Yeah, there is probably still some stuff to fix. If you want to follow on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube, that's obviously a good idea. Also remember, our game is released and you can play it right now on Steam or directly from our website. Bye.